Welcome to Innovation Beauty Retreat 2024. So it is a big pleasure for the aesthetic team to have in these 2 days a big part of our partners along with us.
I'm here, first of all, yes, as an ambassador, but before being an ambassador, I am a client. I am a woman who has needs. Being an actress, it puts you in front of a camera 12 hours a day when you're filming. So that means I'm the kind of woman who always search for technology that works, that delivers immediately and visible and sustainable results.
Hi everybody, thank you Monica and your team for a very warm welcome. Today I want to talk to you about an extraordinary technology, not surpassed by any other technology until today. And I'm talking about our human capacity for self-healing. In the next 30 minutes we will see how it works, why it fails, causing us aging and disease, and what we can do to fix it. A little bit of my story. I started with aesthetics in 1984, that's about 40 years ago. I don't know who was born yet or not, okay, a few of you. Here we are, okay. Very shortly after, I started with my first assignment, which was in plastic surgery, where I started to do my training, and then I was transferred very shortly after, a year after, because I was bored with all these operations, and dermatologic surgery came up, so the faculty of dermatology took me in to establish dermatologic surgery in the university hospital. And of course, graduated, finished, started my practice. And in 1991, I went to the States, Orlando. There was a congress with the Carouters, and they were presenting Botox. The press, after the congress, said, it's an idea that's going nowhere. Can you imagine? Okay. But I met there a guy, a Dr. Fulton, James Fulton. He doesn't live anymore. He was 60 and something by the time, was a Texan with a big Texan hat and these ties from metal. And he was the friend of the Carouters, and he said, come on, young lad, I'll teach you how to do that. So I learned it from Fulton, and then I went back to Belgium. And it was nowhere to find. You know, Botox was only registered in 92, 93, the earliest, and nobody knew where to get it. So I searched for Allergan. And imagine, they had their head offices in Antwerp, the city where I had my clinic, 300 meters from my clinic. And why in Antwerp? There was a loophole in the legislation. We have 9 parliaments, a loophole, and they couldn't forbid it by then, so everything that is not forbidden in Belgium is permitted. And so I became the 4th doctor in the world to inject Botox and the 1st in Europe. We injected about, it's not my doing, it's a coincidence. We treated 300 patients a day, and sometimes more. People were sitting at 1 o'clock in the morning, they were sitting on the floor. It looked like a vaccination campaign in Africa. So the first big success came, and we opened the clinic. It became bigger and bigger and bigger. At the end, we had 8 waiting rooms like these, 2,000 square meters, 40 operation rooms, and 45 people working. So it was gigantic. And as they say in the States, everything went well till it went wrong. And in 2012, we had our first major failure. We were injecting people since '91, and they started to turn out like these people, unrecognizable. That means I knew them from then. They were 40 then, 45, and we injected them for many years, decades even, and this was the result for many of the patients. We didn't understand yet what was going on. Don't forget, we are 2012. But the press was mocking these people, and we know now Madonna still looks like that. And, you know, with every catastrophe, you always have some luck. And the luck was that my daughter decided to marry the son of a famous radiologist. So in 2013, they got married, and I asked him, Ivan, his name is Ivan, I'm Ilan, he's Ivan. And they had a CT scan in their office. There were 5 radiologists. And I told them, you know what, I want to see what's going on inside this head. You take for me tomographies. They said, okay. You couldn't say otherwise, we were going to share grandchildren, so of course. So, and he called me later on, he said, Ilan, I don't understand what you're talking about, these fat pads, etc. We see this. I said, what's this? He said, the muscle goes away. And when the muscle goes away, the bone goes away. You got to look into the muscles, because if they don't pull on the bone, you will lose bone. I don't care, I'm a radiologist, but you got to look after that. And so we understood by then that aging is the facial shape. It's not the skin. Everybody's talking about the skin, but it's not the skin. It's the facial shape. And the facial shape is not changing because of fat pads. It's changing because of muscular problems. And the muscular problems is loss of volume, no tone anymore of the muscles to lift the face. When young people are smiling, it's not because they're happy. They commit suicide all the time. They just have a better muscular tone. And at the end of the day, our muscular tone diminishes in front of the television, the eyes close, the face will run down. At the end of parties, you will see that, 6 o'clock, they're great. And by midnight, they drank a little bit, the whole face drops down, okay? So, and we're not able to relax the muscles after each contraction like children do, okay? Don't forget, children, you will see them. Where are they? Wait a second. Children, they have a face. We will talk about, wait a second, what's going on here? Yes, wait a minute. No, this is, what is before and what is after? Wait a second. Okay, good. Wait, where are we? No. I have to look, what? Back where? No, you see what's going on? Let me see. This is the back?
Yes.
This is the back? Okay, great. So, we'll get back to this baby, and you will see what's going on with this baby. Okay, 1 second. Okay. What is this going? Yes. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so this goes away. Yes? Okay. Good. Fine. So a baby has also contractions. You see him here, the baby? Okay. Look good at the following. you see here the frown, but you see also the nasolabial folds. And we will understand very soon that the nasolabial folds are a hypercontraction, a residual hypercontraction of the zygomatic muscle. And we are injecting this with hyaluronic acid and other fillers. We shouldn't do that. We should relax the zygomatic muscle, but we can't do it with Botox. So, here we are. Here are our muscles, and I call them the Cinderella of beauty. Why? You all know the story of Cinderella. She was doing all the work, and this other daughter, she was getting all the credit, okay? You remember the two sisters? Now, we have here the muscles who are doing most of the work, and the skin gets the credit. And we all work on the skin. The skin is totally irrelevant in aesthetics. Now, we looked what's going on with muscles with people who have Bell's palsy. Everybody knows what Bell's palsy is, a nervous problem, okay, viral most of the time. And then you get a paralysis of the muscles because the nerves don't function. You see, the skin is the same age. The bone is still the same volume. Fat pads didn't change. What changed? Muscles. The muscle don't pull anymore. And the muscle is activated by the nerves. So we went to look after the nerves, and we understood that we need 120 meters per second, the time of transmission, to get a good nervous connection. And we understood that with aging, this goes down because the myelin sheets that gives us this speed diminish. And that all these nerves, they go in both ways, efferent and afferent. And the problem starts when they are not synchronized. When the afferent and the efferent are not synchronized, we lose tone, we lose volume, and we cannot relax after each contraction. Now, we cannot stimulate the muscle by our own machines. It doesn't work. You cannot go and take an EMS or another TMS and stimulate the muscles. I know people do that, but it doesn't work. Because we have a specialized organ, which is called the brain, fires through efferent nerves. They come in thousands of receptors inside the muscle, and the muscle sends immediately signals within the milliseconds back to the brain, and the brain readapts continuously. Otherwise, we don't have a normal muscle. And we know that muscles determine the volume of the face. Now, when we looked at the nerves, we understood that the nerves get blood supply, and that the blood supply is not really okay. And then we looked at the lymphatic vessels and nodes, and they are innervated by the nerves. So this affects the lymphatic drainage, our vasculature is not okay, and the nerves are not okay. That led us to understand that we have three major organs which drive and are connected with our whole body: the brains, the heart, and the intestines. Nervous system, vascular system, and lymphatic system. And they go all together, 100,000 of kilometers of cables who run through that. And they give the command and they get the feedback. And how does the body run? We have millions of sensors everywhere. When something goes wrong, it sends a signal to the central command. And the central command automatically repairs it within seconds or milliseconds. And that's how we keep our youth. That's how we are healthy. Now, with time, this system ages and becomes defective. And that's where we get diseases, and that's where we get the aging. If we can correct it, first of all understand it, and then correct it, we are able to reverse aging and to reverse diseases. And that's what we did. Look at how these biofeedback loops function. And they function in a hierarchy to keep the homeostasis, the youth, and the wellness of our body. So we were looking at the nerves, and we understood the nerves are electric, of course. We got the action potential, we got transmission, etc. We looked now at three central organs, and curiously, all three of them are the only ones who generate electricity. The brain generates an electroencephalogram, electrocardiogram for the heart, and something that people don't know yet, that there is an electrogastrogram. Check it out on your phone. We never learned it at university. But an electrogastrogram is quite important once you enter into the electromolecular medicine, where you can change in your intestines something by acting on it. So the loops of biofeedback run on electrical current and electrolytes. What are electrolytes? These are molecules that split in water in an anion and a cation, see? And they conduct electricity. We all know that water doesn't conduct electricity. But once you put a salt in it, NaCl, it will start to conduct electricity. That is why our body operates with a physiological solution which contains 0.9 milligrams of salt. Okay? I will not run the video. We'll save us time. Everybody understood what it is. Okay? Now, we came across studies, and the first was one study, and there was full of studies that show us that the red blood cell is not propulsed by the heart. The red blood cell goes through the capillaries where the exchange happens between oxygen, carbon dioxide, and the tissues electrically. The capillaries are 4 micron in diameter. The red blood cell is 8 micron in diameter. How does he fold, enter the capillary, go swiftly through, exchanges oxygen and carbon dioxide, and goes back to the venous side? Hemodynamically, it's absolutely not possible. The heart is a maximum 80-watt engine, and it cannot run 100,000 kilometers of wires. So something else is happening. And we go here to Stephanie Seneff, which is, I don't know how to activate it, maybe here, which talks about it in a TED Talk, and she is a scientist of MIT, not the least of the universities, probably the best, and she's talking how it works.
So when that system falls apart, lots of bad things happen. So here's a picture, very schematic, of red blood cells traveling through a capillary. They're very crowded in the capillary. It's a very tight squeeze. They decorate themselves with sulfate outside their cell, and they deliver that sulfate as they pass through the capillary. They shed it, and they're therefore shedding negative charge. And that negative charge is then building up along the capillary wall. And it's very interesting because as they do this, by the time they get to the vein, and all of them are shedding their negative charge, this creates a battery between the artery and the vein, which then actually propels the red blood cell through the artery, through the capillary, because it's attracted to the venous side because of this battery. It's attracted to the cathode, and that will pull the red blood cell through so that the heart doesn't have to work so hard to pump. And furthermore, these layers, these sulfated layers along the wall of the capillary are very slick jello. The red blood cell can just slide through almost frictionless effort to get through that capillary. When these things break down, the red blood cell gets stuck and you have a no-flow situation. So basically, this voltage change that's created by the red blood cell itself actually drives the red blood cell through the capillary and makes the blood flow properly.
Okay, I'll explain you what she says. We have a red blood cell. Once it changes its polarity and it's charged with electrons, it is negative. The wall is negative, so that means the wall pushes the red blood cell to the center. And when it enters in the capillary, it pushes it so hard that the red blood cell folds in two. That is the reason why it can go through the capillary. And then, because it becomes positive at the end of the capillaries, it's pulled there and it runs like a magnetic train in China, 1,000 kilometers an hour, frictionless. And this is the reason why we have a capillary flow. And I'll show you here what it means. A slow flow in normal situation, and once the blood vessels are activated with electrons, okay? So, here you are with the secret of aging. And what does it mean? We have a system of red blood cells. On each red blood cell, we have 250 million hemoglobin molecules which can attract 4 oxygen molecules each. So we got a red blood cell with 1 billion oxygen molecules. And the idea is to become a billionaire. But a billionaire that the body understands. 1 billion euros, the body doesn't understand. But 1 billion oxygen molecules, it understands. Now, while the pH is high and the red blood cell is charged through a vortex of our heart to the lungs, it can catch our oxygen. You can have 100% of oxygen. Doesn't make a sense as long as your red blood cell and the hemoglobin is not charged with electrons. It catches your oxygen, it releases the carbon dioxide. Then it goes to the second ventricle of the heart, which pumps it through all the rest and creates a vortex again. And there it lowers the pH, you're at 7.25, you release the oxygen by lack of electrons, and you catch the carbon dioxide, and you got your way back to the heart. Now these two ventricles are approximately the same. While one is pumping only a small portion to the heart and the other one to the whole system. Now you understand, if it's a hemodynamic system, you would have a ventricle that pumps into the arterial blood for the body, which would be immense, maybe 10 times bigger than the other ventricle, but it's not the case, because they don't have a hemodynamic function. A slow, little one, but all the rest is done by the red blood cells themselves. Because they are negatively charged, they also don't clog together. They don't form like we call rouleau formation. You know the rouleau formation, like the jetons in a casino, okay? Okay, so they're all negative. One pushes the other. You know, you have all seen children like in the recreation where they stop there and play. When they go in line, they start pushing each other. And the wall pushes them to the center where there is no friction, okay? And this is the secret of our oxygenation. Now, once we have enough oxygen, our nerves start to work, our cells get enough oxygen, and our lymphatic system starts to work, and we start fighting our aging and our diseases. People ask me, how come you solve all these problems at the same time? Because they're all related to the same concept. Now, electricity is known for a very long time. There is a book written on it. There's a Nobel Prize on that in '63. We already talk about electrome at the University of Louvain, like the microbiome. And the MIT talks about cracking the bioelectric pattern. So, the flow of red blood cells, as we discussed, aggregation. We don't have the rouleau formation, no aggregation anymore. And, of course, oxygen, carbon dioxide uptake and release in the red blood cell. Up to now, we understand how it works. Now, 2012, I was shocked by these faces, so I went to see my colleagues in the States that I knew through congresses. And they told me, oh, we stopped a long time ago already with these injections because we see the faces change, but we don't know what's happening. Now we know what's happening. At the time, we believed hyaluronic acid is temporary. Now we know it remains. And now we also know that even if you inject hyaluronidase, it remains, it fragments, but it remains. And the fact that we come back every 6 months to the doctor because we don't have them anymore in the cheeks is because they lose their G prime and they start to travel. And then we say, it's gone. It's not gone. You know when you'll see that it's not gone? A few years later, when the face starts to swell and they start to attract a few times their volume in water. Now, you say it's a bad doctor. It's not a bad doctor. This guy doesn't go to bad doctors, okay? So, but what? The muscle goes down, hyaluronic acid accumulates, and he looks like that. And that's how he looks in 2021. And he has to play this movie Maverick and put this helmet on for the F-16, but it doesn't fit anymore. So, he needs to go and remove it. Removing hyaluronic acid is extremely dangerous. First of all, it costs you 10 times more than putting it. Then you get the risk of scarring, and then you have 1 chance on 5 to develop an autoimmune disease because you got a lot of hyaluronic acid all of a sudden in contact, okay? So we're heading a lot of problems in the future. The States, where they injected a lot for a long time, and me, who injected a lot for a long time, we understand that's waiting for all of us. This is the outcome that we will have, and we will need to inform the patients of all these risks. Okay? So, a young face is what? A young face is not the skin. The skin has no quality of stretching or nothing at all. It's the fascia below the skin that makes, in fact, the whole thing stand. If we're talking about skin tension, we're talking about the fascia tension. What is the fascia? This sheet that is connected with your deep fascia. If you take a jar and you want to open it with your hands, you have here a totally different fascia than the skin here. You cannot do that with this skin, even if you rejuvenate it. You can only do that with the fascia. So we got to look at the fascia, at the retaining ligaments, at the muscles. The fat pads are not important at all, and the bone. So two things are not important, the fat pads and the skin. And all our aesthetic congresses are only about that, okay? Very important to understand. The muscular volume, the muscular tone, and the relaxation after each contraction, okay? So, 3 central organs, connections everywhere, and the peripheral organs. Now, when we age, and we live now about 50 years longer than 200 years ago, we eat bullshit, okay? We don't earth. That means we don't get our feet in contact with the earth where we can be charged with electrons, okay? We have seen that earthing creates a deaggregation of your red blood cell. It charges them with electricity, okay? We don't take any salt anymore that is sea salt, which contains a lot of electrolytes and minerals. We take table salt to replace all the 90 minerals that we have in our body. We replace them by kitchen salt. And of course, we are depleted in magnesium. We don't have magnesium, but we don't have a lot of electrolytes. So we need to take electrolytes, and we need to catch photons of the sun in the morning, because these photons will charge us electrically. So we don't do all of this, and all of a sudden we get neuropathy, vasculopathy, and lymphopathy. That means all our loops are degenerated, no connection anymore, and no possibility anymore to repair our systems. We start aging and getting diseases, and what do? We don't repair our auto-repair system. We try to play God ourselves, and we invent machines to work from the outside, with all the consequences that it has, okay? It all works fine till the age of 50. By the age of 50, the hormones already ravage the whole system, and you need to think differently. So, all the diseases, they come from the age of 45, 50. See? So in the future, we'll need to do this if we want to continue with our technologies of now. So what did we do? We took out all the electronics, a lot of software with the university, and we developed something that could indeed arrange these electrons as it should, okay? It's a closed loop thing. I will not spend time on that. It's totally non-invasive. Maybe I'll show a second of that.
RIU microcurrent activates the biofeedback loops through a closed-loop dynamic dual-mode technology.
On the back, there is an electrode.
Is
we stick an electrode.
At the level where the
there are
corresponding
protocols,
peripheral
there are
nerves exit
structures
the spinal
how
cord.
to do that, etc. Okay? Good. So,
RIU
we continue. Now, there is another thing that connects with electricity. Not only the central organs and the peripherals. The cells themselves are connected through electric bonds. That means if we want cohesion in our organs, hair follicles, skin, whatever it is, we need to connect them electrically, okay? That's very important. And there are enough studies up. Nothing that I'm telling you here is not into studies that are PubMed published, and they're all on our website. So the cells, they talk to each other. They know exactly what to do. You see, I developed cosmetic creams, etc. But when the skin is exactly in harmony, that means they talk to each other and they look at the central organs, it's like a philharmonic orchestra. That means they listen to each other and they look at the director and they play in harmony. When they're not connected anymore, you will see the trumpet playing too high and the violinist too low, and we'll start to try to correct all that, but it's never like nature does it. There's another thing that nature does with electromodulation. Degranulate our thrombocytes. Okay? We know what thrombocytes are. We take them wherever we don't have blood. We take them, we centrifuge them, we take the fraction, and we traumatize that. Why? Because we need thrombine. Otherwise, we don't have a degranulation. But imagine that electromodulation, there are enough studies about that, activates the platelets, which means you got 600 milliliters on the face, 700 on your scalp. You activate them with electromodulation without taking blood, without traumatizing, without anything. Okay? These are the 3 actions of electromodulation. So, we're saying tap into your own systems of cell defense. We went from surgery. I started with surgery. I did faceliftings, hair transplant, all of this. thousands of them, and now we are not only into natural, but into self-healing, which is another level of natural. Now there is another very nice thing. We know from lasers the selective photomodulation. We know that. We know the selective chromophores. That's how we work with lasers. But all the diseased tissues have a different resistance, which means we can go to selective electromodulation. Now look, this is an Indian lady, phototype 5, scarring of the face, no abrasion, no pain, nothing. Why? Because the scars have a different electrical property. If we had an hour to talk here, 5 minutes? Okay, good. You see that not only the face is better, but also under the eyes, okay? I don't know if you saw that, also under the eyes, okay? So, we'll go straight. A lot of indications, including neuropathy, gynecology, andrology, hairs, etc., okay? But the ligaments, don't forget. The fascia, very important. The compartments, don't inject in compartments that are loosening. The muscles, okay? Look, people say gravity pulls it down. Gravity doesn't pull it down. The muscle contracts, that means the upper face goes up and the lower face goes down. If we relax these muscles, we're done. Small muscle on the upper eye. Look, no blepharoplasty. Upper eyelid done, okay? The gaze that opens with the frontalis. Now we go to the mid-face. There is no plastic surgeon in the world who can achieve that. And this is achievable by a beautician that works in your office. She can beat the best plastic surgeon without any problems. Look at the cheeks who are up, look at the eyebrows who are down, look at the eyelids inside, look at the lower eyelid who are straight, look at the marionette lines, look at the nasolabial fold and the lips. Then you understand what's all about. The skin, the lips, the upper eyelids, nasolabial folds from the inside, goes away. Lips get bigger, the vermilion gets redder, better defined, skin of the vermilion is better. This is what young ladies who are a bit educated want today, not these very full lips that you see. The neck is not only platysma, it's all the muscles above the hyoid. And you see that when you go with an electrical lymphodrainage, and you go upstairs with all the muscles on the bottom of your maxilla, okay, mandibula, you see it stretching up, okay? No need to traumatize the patient. This is all done in a very pleasant environment. Face, scars again. These are pores, open pores, extremely complicated, one session. Around the eyes, look at what's happening. All the warts go away, xanthelasma, etc. Okay, why? We normalize. Armpits that are dark, this is from our clinic in India. Botox. What is Botox? Blocking a problem in the afferent-efferent synchronicity. You synchronize them, it goes away. Melasma, deep melasma, where you fight your deep dermal pigmentation 5 years later is still gone. Okay? Look at the malar bags. Look at the quality of the skin, where you rearrange the elastosis. Look at the facial shape. Impossible to do with acids. Look at rosacea, how it normalizes because the dermis normalizes. You cannot do that even if you go to a pulse dye laser. Okay? Look, this is a lady, she's a doctor. I'm not saying she's beautiful. Okay? But she's done 14 sessions over 8 months. Look how the face changes. The muscular. And that's how we talk today about a dynamic, vertical, muscular osteo bone lifting, which you cannot do in any way. The lips are getting better even, the skin is getting better, the eyes are less hollow, all this in one procedure. Scars, cellulite. Why? You stretch the skin, you improve the lymphatic vessels, you improve the vascularity, fat goes away when you improve the vascularity. 1 year later, despite the fact that she's 1 kilogram heavier, still gone. Okay? Malar bags, extremely complicated because it's a combination of lymphatic drainage, muscles, etc. Gone. Okay? I will not talk about the hair. That is for tomorrow. But I'll just finish with a very, very, very small conclusion. And then gynecology, andrology, we'll talk about it later. I believe that the future of medicine is not only natural, but above all the management of self-healing, our best engine ever. Future of beauty is to take care of fascia, ligaments, muscles, not only the skin. Now, statistics show us that only 5% of the population in the age group that comes. In the general group is 1%. In the age group, these are American figures. That means that on every patient that comes into your clinic, there are 20 that do not want to come because you don't offer natural techniques. 20. You see, if I have a restaurant, one comes in to eat and 20 stay outside, I'll wonder what's going on. Okay? These are the statistics. You can consult them for me later. They are afraid of that. They don't want this. Okay? Our second problem is difficult indications like mallow bags, etc. Third problem is they want an experience. Electromodulation works on the brain, works on calmness and stress reduction. We have in Romania 2 psychiatrists who have the device. Psychiatrists, not psychologists, psychiatrists, very satisfied. Okay? In India we do that. We do the alignment of the chakras with that. Now, affordable. It's too expensive for the people. They don't earn so much. So they need something that is affordable, okay? So that they can pay. The devices need to be affordable and the technology. No side effects, sustainable results, no pain, no downtime, and 100% natural. What do I like in Rio? I don't like that it takes time. So you need 4 weeks, 5 weeks, a bit of patience. But what I do like is it's 100% natural, it's a real rejuvenation, and it's lasting. Okay? It's gradually it comes up. My books are available. This is for free, all these books. What is the future? Future is an electromolecular medicine. Okay? Thank you very much.